Dieter and Hutch from Parts Unknown.
I can tell you, I'm in Santa Clarita in a parking lot somewhere.
49ers feel equally lost right now. That unquestionably the worst game they've played. Like that goes
Oh,
without
without
saying.
question. I mean, that
Yeah.
first half was the dumbest football I've ever seen. I was like with people at their apartment. They're like, "How's the game going?" And I'm like, "It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life."
My wife was out of town at a wedding, so my mother flew in to watch my children so that I could watch this football game. I paid much like Cam Inman, my colleague at the Bay Area News Group, is they paid for airfare for him to cover that game.
Right.
Meanwhile, me, the most loquacious man on earth, struggled to find 600 words about that game because you can't just write the word shit 600 times.
It seemed generally quiet.
Yes.
Like there was no energy in the building from the moment there was a snap. And it was like, is this game going to start at any point?
It was super interesting. I thought that there was an interesting mix. So I had the YouTube TV Fox broadcast up, and every single play, I don't know what the energy was like in the building. I know there were a lot of Niners fans there. You could tell because they didn't cheer until like Brian Robinson's kick return with less than a minute to go in the first half. But there, you could hear the offensive lines calling out the Mike linebacker on every play.
Yeah.
That's a rarity. I mean, it could have been a mixing thing, to be fair. It could have also just been a sleepy game in Houston, and they weren't up for it. Houston was ready to just dink and dunk their way I don't even think they played well. I mean, their defense did, but offensively, they just sort of were there.
Like a two-parter. Like one, it was the worst game plan I think Salah's come up with, but it also was like, is this the extent of what they can do with this personnel? Because they've been doing this sort of like almost imaginary, impossible tightrope walk where it's like, all right, well, we don't have the dudes, but we're kind of going to like be in any game and just maybe figure it out.
Yeah.
And this was a game where they were like, no. And you were spot on. Like, I think I was a little too optimistic about what the offense could do. And Will Anderson just ransacked them every single play. And they had no possible solution.
Colton McKivitz never stood a chance. To be fair, there's like 3 tackles in the NFL who stand a chance, but Colton McKivitz sure as hell ain't one of them.
Trent Williams isn't even one of them this year.
No. Wasn't it so interesting, though? This is a little granular detail, but it was obviously Danielle Hunter on Trent Williams the majority of the time, and that's fine. Danielle Hunter can hit you with everything. He's one of the more underrated players in the last 25 years of NFL football. And he's not what he used to be, but he's still damn good. He hit him with power every time. And Trent was just digging sandcastles. He was trying to get in there. And then they threw Will Anderson at him a couple of times. And Will Anderson, who is, I would say, the best speed rusher in the NFL, who has something else, right? But like his game is speed.
Someone say TJ Watt, but
that's fair. I mean, there's an argument to be made.
It's a conversation.
We know his game. We know his game. He's a speed rusher. He's going to beat you off the edge, Bryce Huff style, if you will, but just to the nth degree. And he went directly into Trent Williams' chest every time. At least I noted that he was up against him. Like that. There it is. The book is out. If you want to get past Trent Williams, which not many people did today, but they moved him back quite a bit.
Right.
And I thought Mac Jones was awful today. Just flat out awful. He looked like a backup quarterback facing an elite defense.
He threw quite a few where it was like, this is like 3rd and 11, and they're going like 6 yards short of the sticks, Kirk Cousins style.
Jimmy Garoppolo style.
Yeah, I said it. I texted you that I was like, that was Jimmy G-esque. And also, just the knee, just taking shots and like that, where he had a free play. It's like, maybe he didn't know,
right?
But like, take the shot, don't scramble for it while you're. I mean, he ran a few times, but my God, I mean, this is just an exhausting watch.
We're so excited to watch it again. I do want to get back to the point you were making about Salah's game plan. I mean, for the last few weeks, they've tricked their way into wins. They've been running a 3-card Monty, and it works against guys like Michael Penix, and it worked for like the first quarter and a half against the Rams until Matt Stafford realized, oh, damn, I have a game, because his bio clock was way off. And so he didn't know what was up. And then he's like, I guess I'll just throw it at Siegel the entire time and put a pin on Siegel. But this was what don't get home and go cover 4 every snap? Like, what was that game plan? It was some Big 12 nonsense.
He threw some blitzes and they just weren't working. So I think his adjustment might have been, all right, well, a lot of these aren't getting home. Like, let's see if we can at least play coverage. And then everyone who crowned Tatum Bethune, who's just like not getting enough depth or really covering anybody. Everyone like on the defense looked pretty bad today. I mean,
yeah,
Alfred Collins had a couple moments. There's one good Kalia Davis snap I remember. Michael probably had some good moments.
You sent me in the game. You're like, that was a great snap from Kalia Davis, and I'm like, oh man, I missed that. And I just go and rewind it. You miss stuff, and so you rewind it. Couldn't find it. Have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what that rep is. Maybe you saw something I didn't, but like,
no, there was one very good.
That's not awesome.
No, it was something where it was like, it felt like everything in the secondary was disconnected, poorly communicated, and just downright off. Like you had one play where I think Mustafa, Green, and Stout all ran into each other. Mm-hmm. And they just gave the Texans a rub route by running into each other. And none of them looked like they knew the play.
Correct. That's been a problem on offense.
That's true, but that's what it looked like.
Well, clearly they didn't know the play because that wasn't the play. So something went horribly wrong. It might have been at the implementation or it might have been in the execution, but it did not go right. And I'm a bit confused as to how Jair Brown got promoted. Like,
he had a couple good plays in this game, I will say.
He also had some plays that were not good. Full stop. Like, correct. At least with Mustafa, I've seen him play it at a very good level. I won't even say Pro Bowl.
You take the hit or miss with him. Like, you have to. There's no alternative.
Do you take that with Jair Brown? Like, I felt like I was willing to live with the hit or miss of Siegel because the hit was a lot higher.
Because it's a smart, sharp guy who has the range and the speed and the IQ to eventually, theoretically, put it all together.
Yeah. Whereas
Jair doesn't have the step to lose. If he's a step off, he's getting beat, and you saw it on that touchdown. Like, he didn't get his feet moving quickly enough, and it was over.
We have to talk. I know that your time here is limited, Jake. Thank you for gracing us with some time here on your own goddamn show. But the dumbest play of the 49ers season, is that Diamador Lenoir's interception that he just decided to run out the clock on?
So let me do the thing of cutting a guy some slack before I rip him. Because, to be fair, he gets the ball at about 6 seconds left, right? Said, the play starts at the 11-second mark. So going into that play, like, okay, we don't have a lot of time to work with here. Let's be aware of that regardless of how the play goes. He knows there are 11 seconds remaining at the start of that play. If he doesn't, that's a different problem. So he catches it and he goes, oh, let me make a play out of this. I understand the adrenaline. I've never felt it in a game to know what that feels like, right? So I will give him deference there. That said, there's no part of me that thinks in any world that he would have gotten down on that play. I think 100 times out of 100, he's trying to run that to the end zone and not really aware of the time he left because, quite frankly, he makes a lot of really boneheaded plays, and he does it week in and week out. And, like, he's a good player who has made a lot of spark plays for this team. Some really boneheaded decisions, and I was not surprised that he didn't get down. And again, I know it's a tough situation. I don't know what that's like, but he's on the sidelines. Like he's a foot away from the sidelines. He cuts it inbounds, and then the clock runs out. And then 3 seconds after the clock runs out, he's like, "Oh, time." And you're like, and again, that's like on the list of things in this game that really cost them is not a major one, but it actually, like, they would have been a score away perpetually if that turns into a field goal. So it was like a major opportunity in a game that, like, they didn't have many.
Right.
And he didn't make the most of it.
You played, I don't know if I've seen a team play worse on offense to that point, right? And they go, and Brian Robinson, all the credit in the world to him, pretty good kick returner there, or at least a very good kick return.
Yeah.
Gets a spark for him. Create something. That's what you're asking special teams to do sometimes. That is part of their mandate. Make something happen. Get these juices flowing a little bit. Put some oil on the chain on the bike. Like, do something. And he does something.
Right.
And they parlay that into just a Mac just tossing it up there and hoping it works out touchdown.
Pretty funny they don't go for 2 there. I mean, like, I get it. get it given the way the game is going. But
It's all
like, I
good.
think I just wanted to note funny, not necessarily a real critique, but a little funny.
Well, it's the only time they had moved the ball. They didn't want to get greedy there.
Correct.
It never even crossed my mind that they should go for 2, which
I
speaks
know.
to maybe where we were at. But yeah, okay, he catches the ball with 6. If you're not going to just immediately, and by the way, it would have been so easy, step out of bounds. He had to prevent himself from stepping out of
Right.
bounds. So that would have been just an easy one there.
Did you wonder if like Fred Warner was on the field as he's like shouting "Go down" and you don't have that player to be like "Get down," and everyone's like blocking for him instead of like tackling him, which
It's so interesting you say that, because watching back on the replay, I wanted to see if anyone was in fact yelling at him to go down. And we've seen this now a
right.
couple of times. It happens to every team, every player. And again, the moment overwhelms you.
Tough spot, right?
You want to make a play, right? Like, your team doesn't make plays. We try to make a play. I haven't seen an interception in a year and a half. Like, let's make a play. But at the same time, you have to know how much time is left. He did make the play was made. This is the problem that I have. Want to make a play? Great. He made the play. He's running down the sidelines. There are 3 seconds left. He has a choice to fall down, go left, and celebrate with his teammates on the sidelines, or turn right, go into the middle of the field, and eventually get tackled without really ever making any more progress.
Right. The
And
obvious answer is to just tightrope it, and if someone knocks you out of bounds, they knock you out of bounds. But then there's one play left, and if the offense throws a Hail Mary, that's a chance.
But as I watched that play, I noticed that Tatum Bethune is standing there and he's waving to the right, like go. It looked like he was saying go, not go out of bounds, not go down, but go run towards the end zone. So you're right. I don't think there was anybody on the field. And the sideline sure as hell wasn't yelling it, because there's some strength and conditioning coach yelling like, that's our ball. Let's go. Let's go. Like, again,
yeah, you get
the moment,
of the moment, and there's no time left. I get it.
If you don't want to put it on Diamador Lenoir because that moment is big and he's trying to make something happen, you have to put it then on anyone else who doesn't have the ball and can have their head about them. How about anybody on the sideline who is 4 feet away from him yelling, step out, step out, step out, as they can watch the clock, because they're not participating in an NFL game where any play could be the last one of their career. It was just one of these little things, and contextually it's huge in the sense of you had just gotten some momentum, and then you get another momentum play. You're going to get the ball to start the half. That's not just lapping them. That's getting 3 bonus points on the lap.
Right. And it's like, listen, like in the scheme of things, whatever, like it's a nice play, but like it was a real opportunity to steal 3 points. And just in the context of a game where you played one of the dumbest games of football you played in years, like it was kind of part of that feeling, part of that narrative.
And again, I just don't feel like Houston ever felt threatened at any juncture by this team. And it's interesting.
Wait, sorry, Nevin makes a fair point that
Fred could never get Dre to go down.
Fair.
It's true. It's factual. They couldn't get Isaac Rendo to go down either. But
I mean, I get it. You don't get the ball a lot as a defender, but like at least pretend to tell him to go down.
You have coaches on the sideline who should have. What the hell is the point of Robert Saleh being on the sideline if he can't yell "go down" out and it gets through like a Phil Jackson whistle?
Right.
And again, would that have mattered in the scheme of things?
Probably
no,
not.
but it could have made that game way more interesting than it had any chance.
Right.
It deserved to be. And let's be fair, the Niners haven't deserved to get much this year, and yet they were 5-2 coming into this contest. Deserved has nothing to do with any of this. It's what you can get. And the Texans wanted to give you a chance to make this game interesting. And instead you're like, we're good. We're good.
Right. So, I think this is just a season of like sort of whatever you expect to happen, the opposite will happen. The dumber option will prevail is sort of like where this team is headed. And I think this sets up a situation where next week against the Giants, I think Pearsall and Purdy don't play. I think you say, all right, well, we don't have to deal with Scattaboo. Let's like hope we can just figure out a game plan and let Jackson Dart maybe beat himself. He'll do some cool stuff in the first half. Maybe we'll get in a hole, but eventually the Giants will beat themselves because that is how they play. Mm-hmm. And we can maybe escape with a win and then get everybody back against the Rams. I think that's the hope coming out of this game. And you say, all right, well, D'Amico out-coached and they outplayed us and we played like shit and we don't have the dudes. Also, how about like Jordan Elliott and D. Winters? Should we talk about the linebacker? The linebacker who didn't play?
Well, I do want to say that I thought D. Winters was actually really good in this game. He was like one of the very here are my studs. Saran Neal, what a performance.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, I get it now. I didn't get it for 7 weeks, but I get it now. That was a great what a jamming performance, what a gunner performance. My goodness. Fantastic stuff. I thought D. Winters was really good in this game up until the point where he had to leave the game. Right. I thought George Kittle was good in this game, and Brian Robinson had the play of the game in this game.
The only play.
those are the four studs. Everybody else was a dud. I mean, like legitimately, not a lot of middle ground, not a lot of like, yeah, you were fine, sort of guys.
No, not a lot. Jordan Watkins, not a tough debut.
They gave him a catch late when everyone had turned the game off.
They did. I mean, it was a tough catch for him to make, but when it goes straight through your hands, that's tough.
Okay. Pretty interesting that the 49ers are down to street free agents at a lot of positions. They lose D. Winters, who had been their best defender in that game, bar none.
Yeah.
And instead of using a player who was active, using a player who was taken at pick 75 in this most recent NFL draft.
Correct.
A player who, not just externally, but or at least publicly, because I don't know what the narrative is like internally, but publicly got a lot of praise for, oh, wow, he could be really special. He could be really great. This would have been the opportunity to see some of the things they've been working on since they kind of figured out a way to isolate him on the sidelines for the first 7 weeks. And instead of playing Nick Martin, again, pick number 75 in the most recent draft, and a guy who I believe I'm quoting and saying can really make an impact for us this year, they decided to play Curtis Robinson as a weak side linebacker, which went about as well as you could have expected there.
And Robinson,
he's too stiff to play Mike. What the hell was going to happen at Will?
That's the thing. Robinson came in last week and at Mike, so I'm like, all right, well, maybe because it's two different positions, or maybe they think Martin can only play Sam. Like maybe he's only. That's something we need to follow up on this week in terms of does he not know the position of Will, but I remember asking about that sort of to Saleh or another coach, and they're like, yeah, there's some interchangeability there. Like Mike's its own thing. Will and Sam are different, but it's not that different.
It shouldn't be that different. That's like being a Z or an X. You should be able to do both.
The only logical explanation is that they don't trust him. Objectively, clearly, they don't trust him on the field right now. And they're not. I don't think he was on punt coverage. I'm not sure I saw him on kick coverage. Maybe he was and I missed it. But he wasn't on punt coverage last week. Certainly didn't see him this week. So they don't fully trust him on special teams, if they trust him at all. And they clearly don't trust him at linebacker. And sure, he can have an incredible career. He can go on to play some great football for this team. This is not a referendum on what his entire career looks like. But it's pretty damning that in this situation, that's who they turn to. And they don't turn to him.
We should honestly just have a full-time disclaimer where it's the opinions of Dieter and Jake are actually not a reflection on Nick Martin as a person, but in fact an indictment of the 49ers having taken this player at pick number 75 in a draft where they were desperate for immediate impact players, and top 75 picks are universally considered to be players who can provide an immediate role at the NFL level. I'm just going to clip that, and we're just going to run that every time we talk about this guy, because again, it's nothing. He didn't ask to get pick 75, but when you overdraft somebody by 2-3 rounds,
universally, truly, and I know consensus boards and all that can be sort of floozy, whatever. But totally. Consensus from everyone across the board, experts, scouts, no one really had him in that range. Some people had him climbing up, but part of that was based on an understanding late in the draft process that certain teams, like the 49ers, were higher on him. Not necessarily that's how he was consensus viewed around the league.
Right. And they were very, very high on him.
It may pan out in the future. But right now, he doesn't really have utility for this team.
It's just very annoying having to watch a football team that deliberately hurts itself when there are so many other forces going up against them. It's again, we watched every goddamn linebacker, right? And we watched this guy and we're like, I don't really. We barely watched him because we just didn't see it. And then beyond that, when we go back and we're like, I still don't quite get the vision that they're selling.
The flash is there. The flash is there. No question.
Well, they need something from him. And maybe the Robinson tape is so bad, and maybe Winters' injury is such to where now we do see him moving forward. And I hope the best for him because I'd like to watch good football. I would like to at least
see him on the field. I would like to know what he looks like in an actual NFL game. And we obviously we're not massive fans of his tape, but if he plays well, I will acknowledge that he plays well. Like Connor Colby early in the season when I went, okay, I was wrong, and then it's sort of regressed, and he's had the groin injury. So
yeah, we don't give a damn if you succeed or not. We're not
football, which is why this was such a maddening game to watch. Because even the Texans, watching the Texans D line is awesome. Watching their defense is awesome. It's about the only part of this game I truly enjoyed.
If we want to do victory laps, Jake, and I will let you go here, but if we want to do victory laps. I don't know who the numbskulls in our comments were complaining that we were talking too much about how
Texans defense
talking up the Texans defense. It's like, oh, you've just never watched the Texans defense. Well, Seattle scored a bunch of points. That was my favorite one. Somebody was like, I don't understand how you could think the Texans are good. Well, they've given up 88 points. It's week 8. Well, no. They're just kicking on shitty teams. It's like, yeah, I watched the games where they played good teams, and let me tell you, they were kicking their ass too. Well, also, I don't. The Seahawks. Well, the Seahawks have JSN.
Yeah, pretty damn good wide receiver.
Yeah, pretty good offensive line. Pretty good receiver. Pretty good running backs. Good tight ends these days. It's almost as if they have a functioning first team offense, as opposed to the Niners.
At this point in the season, health matters. So even if your guys are mediocre, them being relatively healthy is an advantage. And just the idea that this Texans defense was honestly insane to read some of the comments that said we were hyping them up. They're objectively an insanely good unit. Henry To'oTo'o doesn't care about anyone's life. He almost killed Azeez Al-Shaair in this game. He tackled McCaffrey and Azeez helmet to helmet on the same play.
Yeah.
Also, there was a point where they cut to the crowd and there was a guy in a To'oTo'o jersey, full head to toe with a helmet on. Awesome.
I'm not sure if that guy's the biggest loser or the coolest guy on earth. It's a fine line sometimes, but you know what? He did it. He committed to the bit, and around Halloween, I'll give it to you. You know what? Fair play.
Right.
Yeah, Henry To'oTo'o is the second biggest lunatic in that linebacker core. I'm sorry, no, he's the most. He makes Azeez Al-Shaair look sane in comparison. He is so much fun. He's
awesome.
The aesthetic peak of linebacker play. I mean, there is no play that he makes that doesn't just have a spine-shuddering amount of plastic on plastic. I mean, this man is going to single-handedly bring down the NFL with lawsuits at some point.
Also, remember how their corners are sick and their safeties are sick, and the 49ers really struggled to do literally anything?
I mean, they have, 2 very good pass rushers, a bunch of defensive tackles that know their job and can hold a gap. They have 3 linebackers. EJ Speed's
extremely angry linebackers who
just
are fast.
Out there ready to kill. And they're small, that's fine, but their defensive line covers for them. And then they have the best cornerback duo in the NFL, bar none, and one of the best, if not the best safety duo in the NFL, bar none, at least the best young one. But other than that, their defense is pretty mid.
Right. We can just admit that it's a sick defense.
It's a sick defense. They're absolutely awesome. And frankly, it's amazing that the Niners were able to get some opportunities. The fact that Juwan Jennings had a chance. The fact that they were able to get some of those deep outs.
They have no business being remotely close in this game. And I think it speaks to the challenges that Stroud and the offense face in moving the ball. By the way, probably I think the most frustrating thing for anyone who goes back and watches the tape from a Niners perspective is every time Woody Marks had the ball and there was nowhere to go. And then no one filled and no one actually – the linebackers didn't flow to the ball, and then he would run for 6 yards and someone would miss a tackle. Felt like every single time.
Tatum Bethune got washed out a lot in this game, which is what you get when you have an itty-bitty linebacker playing Mike. It is what it is. You and I are going to watch it because we're masochists and because we enjoy additional streams of revenue. But you'll have it up for the Hutch Report.
Yeah, I got to grind the tape.
What are you doing in Los Angeles, by the way?
30th birthday for my girlfriend's friend. So
wow.
Little early Halloween party.
Hey now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jake,
Dieter's gonna take some comments.
I don't even know if there are that many questions.
Well,
let me just go through real quick because I think there's only like one or two.
Yeah, go for them.
I don't think there's any questions. If anyone wants a question, you better get it in here now.
You got 15 seconds.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. I'm good.
All right,
Jake. I'm good with the stream. You're good in the car. Let's do this thing. We'll talk to you all on Tuesday. Adios.
Thanks, folks.